Good morning, my darlings. I'm still feeling a little under the weather. Anyway, welcome to day 23. Today we are doing Zoo by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. Now, I've covered this one before on my animals, attacks and pandemics, but it's also quite a nice little horror book. I mean, animals attacking us, I think that's pretty horrific. And it's quite a different take on the apocalypse. It really is. I mean, after all, animals are supposed to be our friends. Not necessarily. Maybe the animals have had enough. Maybe they have. Something very bad is happening out there. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, the animals are revolting, and they don't smell too good either. But I know, terrible joke. All over the world, brutal attacks are crippling entire cities. Jackson Oz, our main protagonist, Mr. Stud Muffin himself. Oh, yes. Wow, that boy makes hearts out of his eyes towards a beautiful young climatologist. Well, I would say she's not a climatologist, she's an ecologist, actually. That's her real trade. Chloe Toussaint, she's French. And he's making like little hearts coming out of his eyes every time Oz sees her. It's like, whoa, you're beautiful. We might be going through the apocalypse, but whoa, you're beautiful is the first thing that he thinks every time he claps eyes on her. Cue the big romance. Dun, dun, dun. But besides that, being a bit cheesy, bit 1970s, bit male chauvinistic, but it's okay because it is quite hilarious. The real villains of this tale are all the animals all around the world. Each and every one of them turns on the humans. Is it through pollution? Is it through pheromones? Is it through the destruction of their natural habitat? Who knows? This book will tell you. Oh my goodness me, it is absolutely rollicking read from start to finish. It's a proper, oh gosh, a 1970s disaster flick. Apocalypse with animals. A little bit of a different take because everything at the moment is either vampires or zombies or earthquakes or tornadoes or pandemics of diseases that are killing off the human race. Well, how utterly refreshing to have the apocalypse brought to us by our pet cats and our pet dogs and birds and pet mice and hamsters and guinea pigs, all turning brutally and utterly savage and eating all the humans up. I think it's actually quite just that the animals have their day, have their moment in the limelight. Definitely. We treat animals so poorly that we'd have to have a human version of the RSPCA to be able to protect what's left of the human race after the cats and dogs and birds and lions and etc. across the entire world have had their way with us. There really isn't anywhere left for us to hide, which is rather worrying because these animals suddenly take on superhuman intelligence as well, which is interesting. Has it been brought about by pollution, the change in their environments? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that we brought destruction down on ourselves, and what better way to mite out our destruction than the animals having their turn instead? Absolutely. And it is quite the horrific ending to us as a human race. And I think so much about all the different organisations that are in here and the bureaucrats that are running it all, from the government positions of being in secure bunkers. You really think they're secure? There isn't a gap that an ant can't get through. And a few thousand ants? Wow. Munch, munch, crunch, crunch. Those formidable little fighters don't leave anything untouched and can strip animals and humans in no time at all. Ooh, what a nice, interesting thought. Have you ever seen a horror movie called Phase 5? It's about killer ants taking over the world, the earth, turning it into a crypt, all because of I think it was an eclipse, yeah, an eclipse in Phase 5, and the ants took over. Ugh, that was scary. But there's coordinated lion attacks in here, where the lions stalk us so efficiently, so brilliantly. Yeah, the formidable fighters. Yeah, we deserve what we get. We really do. I mean, you think when everything on planet Earth is crashing down all around you, no point phoning for the ambulance service or the firemen or the policemen or the army, air force or navy. Everyone's abandoned their positions and they are all going home to take care of yours truly. There isn't anybody left to deal with anything because they're too busy fighting off Fido at home. Oh my goodness me. It's an absolute hoot, a complete riot from start to finish. Yes, I know it's in certain parts it's poorly written and it's a little bit schlocky and it screams 1970s disaster movie. But look beyond that and look towards the animals eating their way through the human race, which I find absolutely hilarious, and richly deserved punishment for us all for treating them so poorly in the first place. Yeah, Oz, you were absolutely right. There is something seriously wrong with the animals on the planet Earth. And unfortunately, by the time we get round to actually doing anything of any value towards protecting the human race, we are doing it from a severely diminished and weakened position. You see, this is what happens when you think the government's out there and is going to come and save you. They can't even save themselves, which is absolutely hilarious. When the government turns around and says, nothing to see here, nothing to panic about, everything's fine, that's when you should get worried. Yeah, because at that point, all hell's broken loose and there's literally nobody left in charge to make any decisions about anything of any value. Forget going to the supermarket to go and get your weekly shop because there isn't anybody actually there stacking the shelves. And the food stores that are available at the warehouses are probably now under armed guard anyway. So you're not going to be able to get anything in for some considerable time. And don't think about running out and trying to escape because they're watching you from every possible angle. And if it is not the cats and the dogs that get you, then the birds are going to get you. Yeah, even something as simple as a fly. You've no chance. Yes, the human race is certainly on its uppers on this occasion. But as I said earlier, it's rightly deserved that we should perhaps leave the world this way. At least then maybe the animals and planet Earth will have a chance to heal without the pesky human race being on the surface of the Earth. Absolutely. It's just a lot of fun. You really, really will enjoy it. And true to form, I'm going to read you a little bit from the beginning. Chapter 1. This is the prologue. It's all happening at the zoo. If you hear that song, we're all going to the zoo tomorrow, we can stay all day. Just somebody smack the person next to him that's singing that, because you do not want to stay at the zoo all day. And we certainly won't be going tomorrow if this story is anything to go by. Los Angeles Zoo, West Hollywood, California. Located in Griffith Park, a 4,000-acre stretch of land featuring two 18-hole golf courses, the Autry National Center and the Hollywood sign, the Los Angeles Zoo and Botanical Gardens is more of a run-down tourist attraction than a wildlife conservation facility. Funded by fickle city budgets, the zoo resembles nothing more than a tired state fair. Garbage cans along its bleached concrete promenade spill over. It's not uncommon to catch the stench of heaped dung wafting from cages where ragged animals lie blank-eyed, fly-speckled, and motionless beneath the relentless Californian sun. To the northeast of the entrance gate, the lion enclosure is ringed by a slime-coated concrete moat. Once, if you squinted hard, it might have resembled a small scrap of the Serengeti. But these days, under-maintained, underfunded, and understaffed, it looked only like what it is, a concrete pen filled with packed dirt, bracketed by fake grass and plastic trees. By 8:05 in the morning, it is already hot in the seemingly empty enclosure. The only sound is a slight rustling as something dark and snake-like sways slowly back and forth through a tuft of the tall fake grass. The sound and motion stop. Then 50 feet to the south, something big streaks out from behind a plywood boulder. Head steady, pale yellow eyes gleaming, Mosa, the Los Angeles Zoo's female lion, crosses the enclosure towards the movement in the grass. With breathtaking speed, but instead of leaping into the grass at the last fraction of a moment, she flies into a tumble. Dust rises as she barrel rolls around on her back and then up onto her paws. Lying deep in the grass is Dominic, Mosa's mate and the dominant male of the zoo's two Transvaal lions from Southeast Africa. Older than Mosa, he shakes his regal reddish mane and gives her a cold stare. As has been the case more and more over the last few weeks. He is tense, watchful, in no mood for games. He blinks once briefly and goes back to flicking his tail through the high blades of grass. Mosa glances at him, then towards the rear fence at a big rubber exercise ball she was recently given by one of the keepers. Finally ignoring the ball, she slowly leans forward to nuzzle Dominic's mane, giving him an apologetic, deferential social lick as she passes. Mosa cleans the dusty pads of her huge paws as the large cats lie together under the blaring blue Californian sky. If there is an indication this morning of something being amiss, it is not in what the lions are doing, but in what they aren't. For lions, as for other social mammals, vocalization plays a major role in communication. Lions make sounds to engage in sexual competition, to compete in territorial disputes, and to coordinate defense against predators. Mosa and Dominic have become less and less vocal over the past 2 weeks. Now they are all but silent. Both lions smell the keeper well before they hear him, jingle the chain link fence 150 feet to their rear. As the human scent strikes their nostrils, the lions react in a way they have never before. They both stand, their tails stiffen, their ears cock forward as their fur bristles noticeably along their backs. Like wolves, lions hunt and ambush in coordinated groups. The behavior the two display now shows their readiness for taking down prey. Dominic moves out of the grass and into the clearing. Even for a male lion, he's enormous. 500 pounds, nearly 9 feet long, and 4.5 feet tall at the shoulder. The king of the jungle sniffs at the air, catching the human scent again, and moves towards it. Wow! Doesn't that just set you up for an absolutely rollickingly good read? It truly is a wonderful, funny, shocking novel. And if you don't actually have time to read this novel, you can watch it on Netflix if it's still available. Zoo was on Netflix a couple of years ago. It might still be there, I don't know. But if it is, that's worth watching because some of the animal attack scenes in the Netflix series are beyond hilarious. it's it's borderline ridiculous, some of the attacks. However, for a TV show that's run by Netflix and it's cheap and cheerful, but if you want a laugh, it would be a good one for Halloween, definitely. I mean, the apocalypse of mankind brought about by your pets. Yeah, having seen the way that we treat animals on this planet, I think it's a richly deserved death towards the humans. Absolutely. So, my darlings, I'll say what I always do. Happy readings and enjoy. And if you like what I've done, you can give me a thumbs up. And if you really like what I've done, you can always give me a follow and come back tomorrow to find out what other dastardly ghoulish book I have in store for you. Take care, my darlings, and I will see you in the morning with another gory tale. Bye bye.